In the heart of a quiet Nigerian village, an unknown man is found dead. No identity, no family, not even a whisper of a name. They thought burying him would bring peace. Instead, it opened a door. A door that should have stayed shut. Tonight's tale is called They Buried Him Without a Name. In the quiet village of Umularai, nestled between rustling palms and red earth, death was not feared, it was understood. The elders spoke often of the earthen veil between the living and the dead, especially when the harmattan winds blew cold and dry. But nothing prepared the villagers for what followed the burial of the stranger. He was found slumped by the sacred Udola tree, skin dusted in white, eyes wide open, staring into nothing. No one knew who he was. His face bore no tribal marks, his clothes were of a strange design, and his shoes, leather, foreign, oddly clean, suggested he had not walked far. Chief Okoro, the oldest man in Umularai, led the deliberation. "We cannot leave a body under the tree," he said, puffing his pipe. "But we do not know his name. To bury a man nameless is dangerous. Shall we wait for someone to claim him?" asked the village teacher, Adana. "And let his spirit wander hungry," replied the chief. "Better we lay him to rest. But with no name, let us be cautious." So they buried him. Deep, behind the abandoned yam barns. No ceremony. No oriki. No drum. Just cold silence and a mound of red soil. The next morning, goats were missing. Chickens found dead with their necks turned backward. Small things, at first, things that could be blamed on wild dogs or mischief. But then the real horror began. The first to feel it was Mama Nkechi, the village herbalist. She woke at dawn to find her compound gate wide open, though she always locked it. Her dog, Obaina, was cowering under the bed, whimpering. On the threshold, scrawled in ash, were the words, "He knows you." By noon, she had packed a small bag and walked to the river, whispering to herself. She never returned. Then came Ikin, the palm wine tapper. He swore that while climbing his tree at sunset, he saw the nameless man standing at the base, staring up at him, even though he was supposed to be 6 feet beneath the earth. When he climbed down, the figure was gone. But in his calabash, where palm wine should have been, was blood. Thick. Warm. The villagers tried to stay calm. Until the graves opened. At the village cemetery 3 nights later, rain fell like a curse. A group of boys dared each other to pass through. They returned screaming. Not only was the stranger's grave disturbed, but 3 other graves beside it had been dug open, from the inside. Chief Okoro summoned the elders. They burned incense, poured libations, and even called the Dibia from across the river. The Dibia, a crooked man with white eyes and no teeth, sniffed the earth around the grave. He touched the soil, tasted the air, and whispered, "You buried a shadow, not a man." And now, he is collecting names. They didn't understand what he meant, not until names started vanishing. Children forgot their own names. One by one, people began waking up unable to say who they were. Not just memory loss, as if their names had been swallowed by the wind. "Who am I?" cried young Uzomoko one morning, staring into a mirror, her eyes wide with terror. Why doesn't the mirror say it back? Within days, over a dozen villagers could no longer say their own names. And each night, someone else claimed they saw the stranger, wandering, eyes empty, mouth whispering. The whispers grew louder, more direct. "Give me what was not given. Name me, or I will take yours." The village plunged into silence. Adana, desperate and terrified, returned to the Udola tree, the place where it all began. There, she found something no one else had noticed. Carved into the bark, barely visible, were letters in a language unfamiliar, not Igbo, not English. She copied them and ran to the schoolhouse, flipping through old missionary books. Finally, she found the origin. The language was old, pre-colonial, tied to a now extinct clan known for naming rituals of power. They believed that to die without a name was to become a devourer of identity, cursed to walk until given what was taken. She ran to the elders. "We must name him," she said. "Even if we don't know his true name, we must give him a name and honor him." Chief Okoro nodded slowly. "Then we do it tonight. Or we all forget who we are." That night, the village gathered under the Udole tree. They brought drums, candles, palm wine, a new grave marker carved with a name, Okri, the man who walks between. They chanted, poured libations, and told stories, not about the man he was, but about the man he could have been. A farmer, a brother, a lost soul, no longer nameless. And as they did, a wind rose from the bush. Cold, sharp, cutting. The flames flickered. The air trembled. Then silence. And finally, a whisper, gentle this time, "Thank you." The next morning, the goats returned. The chickens laid eggs again. And names, once forgotten, began to return to lips like water returning to dry earth. But from that day forward, a new law was etched into Imulari's heart. No one is buried without a name. Even strangers. Especially strangers. Because to be nameless is to be lost forever, and sometimes, the lost come looking.